Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture. Today we're going over the debut album of UK-based singer called Griff and their album called One Foot in Front of the Other. So Griff is a pretty much a really good singer that I really came across randomly. Like I think it was some Spotify like new music kind of like playlist that I was listening to and I came across her and I was like, "Ooh, I like her voice. I like her topics. I like what she's I just her songwriting is really good. It's very vulnerable, but also just transparent in the best way. The first song I got into her was Good Stuff, and I really liked it. I liked that sound. I liked her voice. I love that one, and then I really got into A Million Times Better. I really love that song, and I used to listen to it when it came out. I listened to it so many times. So the theme that I get from her is that the songs are either she's in love in a good relationship or she's reeling after a bad relationship or in a bad relationship kind of direction. It seems like a majority of her songs are about love, which is good, which is not a bad thing at all. Because she really describes it really well, and I think that that's something that I think that's the thing that really drew me into her. It's like she just when she describes things and talks about things, you can one relate to them, two, you can really like feel what she's feeling, kind of thing. So, and this album is no different. It's the same thing. It kind of talks about majority of the songs about the aftermath of a breakup, and then with a direction of going into finding a new guy, finding that these really a good one. So now she has to tear down all those habits, those bad habits that she had, or thoughts and insecurities that she had in the past relationships to better this relationship that she has now. By also but I think that in that middle of tearing it down, she's also thinking about all the stuff that happened in that relationship to kind of help her move past. Because it starts off with Black Hole, which is the song I really like. It says like, I have this big black hole inside my heart, or where my heart used to be. I wish you knew, you would realize I'm the one, I'm all you need, but it doesn't work like that. No, it's not that easy to fill up the gap that you left in me. It goes from there to the last song, which I really like too, called Walk, where it's like talks about like, I'd call you whenever you would pick up, like you weren't even tired. You were with me when no one else would be. So it seems like there's a trail going down where it starts off with just like I'm in this horrible, this hollow direction. Then this guy comes over, kind of starts to feel it up, but I realize there's a lot of walls in front of it, so I have to break down those walls so I can actually take in this full-on relationship for what it is, kind of thing. And it definitely shows that. So we start off with Black Hole, then we go to One Foot in Front of the Other, which talks about kind of the aftermath of the relationship. So you're thinking like, okay, so she's trying to better herself and get better of pretty much being by herself and kind of building herself back up after being torn down. And then it kind of goes into Shade of Yellow, which I feel like that one's more about the relationship that she's in, more recent relationship, the new relationship, where she feels this very weird security inside this guy's room. For some reason, she's like, maybe it's the light. She's like, there's a light in your room, and it burns like a shade of yellow, and it makes me feel safe in the head, and I swear that's rare these days. Pretty much, once again, acknowledging that there's a lot of walls that she has up because of the last relationship, but you can start seeing there's cracks happening inside those walls, thanks to this person, thanks to the security inside this room, this guy's room. Heart Full of Gold is more continuing that new relationship where she realizes this guy is really great, and he has a heart full of gold, and she has a heart full of stone. Like her heart's kind of more like stone, as she says. He's got a heart full of gold, and mine is a little more like stone. Pretty much just said the same thing. So it's her realizing that we found her. She was just a complete, just broken down from the last relationship. But she realizes like even through this type of relationship, he still kind of remains there for her. So she's like, oh yeah, it's gonna take a minute before it gets to this cycle where my heart is finally open entirely. Going to remembering my dreams is a flashback to the ex. So she keeps on seeing this ex inside her dreams whenever she sleeps, and a little, and half of her doesn't really mind it, you know, like it's kind of things just like I get upset, but like I should be upset this is happening, but I forget everything all the bad things that happen in the dream. So when I wake up, I do remember then, but it's just the dreams are so good that I don't really feel bad about having them in this way, and I should, but I don't. Um, at one part, she says, "Somehow it's like you find a way to throw me back off balance." Well, of course you found a way in the middle in the mid at midnight sadness. I know I'll see you again. Pretty much, just maybe that's another wall that's blocking her from kind of moving on. Earl Grey Tea is pretty much the more talking about the toxic relationship, where pretty much we're now in a midst of it, where she talks about the idea that he is so worried about dying, but he doesn't really worry about dying alone or dying or pretty much. I think her point is that he's so concerned about everything else but their relationship, and so it's something that she's not really happy about. So she kind of but she uses the one example of him or the idea that he always is scared of dying or getting cancer or whatever. So he drinks Earl Grey tea because he thinks it's the healthiest thing to do to kind of prevent him from having that happen, which is ridiculous. But and I think she points it out too. But she kind of uses it. She's like, okay, if that's how you see it, then why don't you, as she says, before you make it to heaven, how are you going to fix me? How are you going to save me and you? So it's that kind of thing. It's just like, if you're so worried about that, you shouldn't really be worried about that. You should be more worried about what's going on with us right now, kind of thing. And then we go into Walk, which is way past this and more now on a new love, where she just really just admires her partner. Like, there's just something about him that the way that she talks about his resilience, is how he kind of bounced back up from his fall, and just the way that he walks, and just the things that he does that she really, really admires about him. And she wishes that he could go into her head so that she could see it too, he can see it too. It seems like he has some kind of like self-confidence that doesn't really, or lack of self-confidence that doesn't really see it that way, but she does. But yeah, I really love how she explains everything so well in this album. It's really nice, and it's a very short album, but once again, it's one of those albums that get to the point of what they want to, what usually these artists want to talk about, and I really give it to her for this. I give this album a, I give it a 9 out of 10. I really like it. I think it's just it feels like a sample of something. So I'm really excited to see if there's going to be more to it. If it's going to be like some type of like extension later on, like, oh, the deluxe version or something like that. Or maybe she'll just go on to a different album. I don't really care. I'm really, really excited to just see what the next stage is going to be, because this feels like a taste of something that I just want more of. Leave a comment below, tell me what you thought. If you like this video, let me know, or hit the like, subscribe, and notification button to let me know. And also so you can get more of my videos too. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next video.